Hey guys, Addie here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. A couple weeks ago, I shared a very personal story, and that was the story of my cross-country move. I had some good response from some of my friends and family who watched it. A lot of them didn't know the whole story, so I was glad I could share it here on this platform. Today, I want to share something a little bit different. It's going to be a story time slash advice sort of debunking video all rolled into one. It'll make more sense when I start. Today I'm going to share the story of my black belt journey. Insert photo here. Yes, that photo was from my 3rd degree black belt grading, which was about 5 years ago now. But let me start from the beginning here. I started my martial arts journey when I was just 8 years old. I remember my dad hired some plumbers to work on my grandma's house, and one of the plumbers, he just happened to run a martial arts studio. So my dad said, great, I'll sign up my daughters, meaning my sister and me. I remember the first time we went, we kind of took a tour of the studio, learned a little bit about what the class is going to be like, how big it's going to be, the age range, all of that. So I started as what was called the tiny tigers. And a tiger is basically the animal that represents the white belt in the martial art I did, which is called Tang Soo Do. Anyway, I started doing that. It was, I think, June of 2003. And it was great. I met some good friends there. I learned a lot. And that's the first thing I want to kind of debunk. If you think martial arts or black belts, you think Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee movies, get rid of that right away. Real martial arts is nothing like those. I did not learn wax on, wax off, or any of that. Or if you're into the new Karate Kid, jacket on, jacket off. No. It's a lot more down to earth and a lot more practical. First of all, you learn, number one thing is martial arts is not about fighting. I know it sounds kind of backwards, but one of my old martial arts instructors would say when people would ask him, do you use your martial arts? And he said, every day, but not in the sense that you think. I use it in the sense where I treat people with respect and I honor my elders and those who are in charge or managing me, like a boss or a leader. So I never forgot that. And if you are watching that, Mr. Doyle, hello, thank you for that. Anyway, we started off in a class, my sister and me, of about 10 or so kids our age. And then we worked our way up. The way my school went, it was from yellow to orange, green, and then red. And black, of course. But there were some different stripes in between. And we had a really great martial arts instructor. It was a couple at the time, and I'm not going to say their names just for privacy because you'll see in a minute. Their story kind of falls apart at a point. So from what I knew, again, I was just a child then, so keep in mind I wasn't told every single detail. But from what I heard, my martial arts instructors, they were going through some family issues, so they needed to deal with those personal things on the side, which I respected. And then when I was about 12 or so, 11 or 12, it was bought by a mother and son. The mother, she was a very nice lady. She was kind of in charge of the business side of things. However, the son, he was a bit immature and a bit of a show-off. We're gonna call him Ellis. So Ellis takes over. We called him Mr. His last name, we'll call him Mr. T for the sake of this story. So Mr. T, he takes over, and what I mean by show-off, he basically would brag about himself. He would try to do these insane breaks in front of us, as in all of us students. I remember there was this one time he got a bunch of parents out in the waiting room to come in and hold 4 boards to try to break them all in one go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And another thing that he did that just kind of was a little strange and not really, I thought, like, is this really your business? Was he would ask to see our report cards. Now, I totally understand. School is important, and kids are always encouraged to do their best, get good grades. And I respect that 100%. I will fully support that, even with my own children one day. However, it's not really his business. It's not like he's our principal or our science teacher. Honestly, thinking back to it now, I think he just wanted to compare himself to us, or compare us to him. Either way. Because I remember one time my sister brought him her report card, and he said, if you saw my grades, you would laugh at me. So that basically sealed the deal. And at this point, I'm a little older. Like I said, I was about 11, 12, 13, something around there. So I was a little more in tune and kind of knew something was up. And this part is kind of a turning point in my martial arts journey. My parents came to me and said that we are going to switch martial arts studios because Ellis, aka Mr. T, they just didn't think he was suitable to be teaching us. And this was really hard because my sister and I, we were at this point red belts. And if you remember kind of towards the beginning of the video, how I said the rankings works, it was white, yellow, orange, green, red. We were red with 2 blue stripes. Oh, that's 4. 2 blue stripes, which is basically a step down from black belts. So we were basically about, I had to guess, maybe a year away from being black belts. So it was a little hard, kind of like when you go to a different school. A lot of the time, sometimes you'll be covering material that's a little bit ahead of you, advanced of you, or maybe a little bit behind. Same sort of deal. So, of course, I want to respect and honor my parents, so I'm like, okay, mom and dad, whatever you say. If they think this is what's best for us, then we'll do it. So we switched over to this new school. It was the same martial art, but again, just like I said, every place is different and every place has their own set of rules, their own sort of ways of doing things. So it was run by the brothers, the Doyles, and we met one of the brothers, and he was very nice to us, very kind, and he kind of explained to us like, hey, it's good to meet you, this is what we're going to do, and we get there, and a lot of the stuff is the same, but there are some things that we had to learn, different techniques, different forms that my sister and I didn't know. So that was a little hard because we actually told them like, hey, we're supposed to be going for our black belt soon because that's what we were told at our old school. However, our black belt journey kind of came to a standstill. I was wearing that red belt for, let's see, how many years? It's probably 3 years, so an extra 2 than what I thought, which was humbling to say the least. Just like when you think you're ahead of the game, you're gonna, in school, you're JV and you think you're gonna become varsity, but it doesn't happen, and you have to stay in JV for another year. Same sort of feeling. But like I said, it's very humbling. And it kind of made me take a step back and think, okay, I gotta respect what they're doing and what they want to teach us. So we did do that. It took us another few years. I earned my apprentice black belt, which is basically just, if you saw in the picture, it was basically the jacket with the black trim, but I had my red belts. On top of learning my own set of skills, I had to teach too. So that was a bit of a stretch for me too, because I have joked to my friends that I am not the teacher type. Okay, so shout out to all you teachers, whether you're a tutor, high school, college professor, preschool teacher, total hats off to you. So that was something that was a bit of a stretch for me too. But it was part of being a black belt, it was part of my martial arts journey. So it was September when I was 15, 2010, that I actually did earn my black belts. And let me tell you, there was no feeling better on earth than hearing the Grand Master say that you have earned the rank of black belts. I would say the first degree grading was probably the most memorable. I mean, of course, second and third were great and all, but something my martial arts instructor said was that the first degree grading is the best because it's the first time you hear that you are a black belt. From then on, you're always just going to be a black belt. Whether I do it again in my lifetime or never, that I still have that title. And then I remember going in the next day. Well, let me tell you about the grading. We went to Connecticut, which is where the sort of headquarters, I guess, was. I don't know what to call it, but basically where it started. In the US at least. It technically started in South Korea. So we went there. I remember we had to leave school early. We drove 3.5 hours to Connecticut, got all suited up, ready to go, had our forms ready, our different breaks, and I think my sister did a weapons form. She was all ready for that. And we got our black belts. Like I said, no better feeling ever. So that's kind of my black belt story in a sum. It helps me, I believe, get into college. I talked about it in a speech I gave at my public speaking colloquium at my junior year. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a link to the video, or else I would link it. But anyway, so that is my black belt story. It is kind of similar in the sense to my cross-country moves, that it's not easy. There's a lot to learn. And so I kind of debunked a little bit about martial arts. I said, if you think Jackie Chan movies or Karate Kid or Bruce Lee, just get rid of that. Another thing I want to say is, if you're looking to start your child in a martial arts studio, or you want to start yourself, be leery of places that make lofty promises. I know that a lot of you have seen those commercials where it's like, if you buy this product, it'll make you smarter, happier, richer, better, or whatever. Don't fall for it. It's just a marketing gimmick. And I don't want to say anything bad about those studios. I'm sure they have good intentions just like anybody else. But what I want to say is that that's not realistic. I remember my martial arts instructor, he actually heard or saw an advertisement for a martial arts studio where they basically said, give us a week and we'll make your child unstoppable. That is not possible. It took me 7 years to earn my black belt. And it took me another 2 years to earn my second degree, and then another 4 years to earn a third degree. So it is not, you're in and out in a month. It's not like AA where you get like a 90-day program or a 120-day program. No, it's a process. Even the best master black belts in the world, they will say that I'm not the best. I make mistakes. I remember one of the first times that I actually sparred my instructor when I became a black belt, he was saying, like, you guys did all really well. You tried your hardest and you actually scored on me. Not to say that I'm the greatest fighter, but that was impressive. So I think that's also a mark of a good martial artist, is someone, just like anybody, like a teacher or a coach, to say, I'm not perfect, I make mistakes, and I learn from them. Another thing that I want you to keep in mind is to be leery of places that are kind of unstructured. Again, not saying anything bad about those places that do have a little bit looser rules. But I remember one time my brother, ended up going to the same martial arts studio that my sister and I went to. But he went to one of his friends and they had music blaring, kids were running around. So I would 100% suggest going to a class. Obviously not taking part of it per se, but just watching it. You can see how the students interact with the instructor, how the instructor treats the students. You can learn a lot. It's just like when they tell you, if you're looking at a college, to visit that college campus if you can. See if you can actually see yourself there. Think like, yes, I want to learn at this school. Another thing with martial arts is it can help a lot with kids who have learning disabilities or motor skill problems. I remember we had several students who had some sort of learning disability or gross motor skills issues or something. I don't know the proper term, so leave them in the comments because I don't want to offend or disrespect anybody. But anyway, those are just a few things to keep in mind. Now, if you want to hear more, I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. If you want to reach out to me, I will put my social media down in the description below. And it's also on my channel, my Instagram, my Twitter, and I even have TikTok. I don't really use it that much, but it's my name, at Addie_Eileen. I'll see if I can put it on the screen here. If not, it'll definitely be down below. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you want me to do maybe a Q&A or something, I would be happy to do that, just about life or martial arts, my cross-country move, just anything really. Leave them in the comments below, and maybe I'll put an Instagram sticker on my stories. Or just tweet me, like I said, at my handle at Addie_Eileen. Thank you again for watching, and have a great rest of your week. Bye.